back. We are back. Make sure you like this video as you are coming in. Make sure you like it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Brand New. And honey, I am back in the building. Listen, what's going on? Okay, what's up? What's up? What's up? Shout out to Martin Lawrence, honey. They talking about Martin, honey. I have some interesting commentary about the whole situation with Martin Lawrence. Y'all know he my favorite comedian of all time, honey. I love me some Martin. Ari Lennox has called him out. We're going to get to that for colorism on the Martin show because she doesn't like how he treated Pam. She does not like how he treated Pam. Okay, and I'm going to talk about something that nobody else is talking about because we know that some of your favorite content creators, they love catering to the colorism audience, honey. They love catering to dark-skinned women and, we gonna get to it, okay? Because they love talking about things from one side, right? I know y'all like, you the preference, you be quiet. The preference, honey, just got it so easy. Life is so easy. Boy, I've never had to quit a job because of how I looked. Okay? Because the niggas was on me like white on rice. How dare I speak on this situation, honey? I get everything I want in life because of how I look. Life is so much easier. It's so much easier for me than it is for you. So much. So, yeah, we gonna get to the bottom of that BS in just a little bit. Okay, listen, we go get to the bottom of it because a lot of y'all think like that, and it's very dangerous, and it's very dismissive. It's very disrespectful to think like that. To only to only see things on behalf of dark-skinned women. So I'm gonna speak from the other side, honey, the other side of the tracks, and I'm the light-skinned person. Not the light-skinned person, honey, but I'm the baby in my family and the only light-skinned sibling on my mom and father's side. So I can speak to this. Okay, y'all done seen my siblings. Okay, so I can speak to this. I'm still black, even though they called me a white girl growing up, and you high yellow, or you Puerto Rico. Miss Robinson ain't been through a child. But I'm going to speak on some shiggity that ain't nobody really speaking about, okay? So just give me a minute, baby. Just bear with the preference, honey. Bear with the girl, honey. Just bear with me just for 1 second. I want to get into some comments about the whole, about True T being dragged for talking bad about Melody. We never discussed that. You guys know I like to have another conversation about some of my video topics. So without further ado, I'm going to read some of the comments. And then we will talk about some other stuff. We're also going to be talking about Tamar and Tony Braxton. The little clip that's going viral about Tony Braxton saying how she really feels about the Bible. I have an interesting spin on that as well. Because Tamar is so holy and sanctified. Yeah, right. More like functified. But we gonna get to it, honey. Listen. So one person says, True T messed up her whole channel by bullying people, going back and forth every day and arguing. I was over it. She was one of my faves too, but she went left. Oh well, sucks to be her right now. Another person says, same, she used to be funny, but she fell off bad. Another person says, all of them were against Melody. See, this is what happens when you befriend the devil, aka other content creators, and the recording starts and people keep messaging and everything. I hope all put off of YouTube. Okay, I can't read your comment, baby, because I can't follow, what you're saying. Okay? Another person says, I cut several content creators out of my algorithm because the arguing and fighting isn't what I'm here for. I can watch U.S. politics if that's what I want. Another person says, the ish is draining. Another person says, how do they know what TT got? Empress was not gung-ho for Melody at first either. See, that's where I am surprised, you guys, because I was kind of shocked to hear True T saying that stuff about Melody, and not that she said anything really horrible. That was her opinion, right? We all have the right to our opinion. You're not a bad person because you don't agree with everything that Melody does. I'm not coming from that place, right? But I was just shocked because I noticed, there were several content creators that were like serious mellow meters. So it was a bit shocking, if I'm being honest. And I always thought that Empress was, a big Melody supporter. I always, from day one, told you all I like Melody. Hell, her and Martell was my favorites on the show until Martell kept going down the damn wrong road and cheating on my girl, having a baby on her. Then I stopped liking Martell, and then I always saw it for Melody. And then, slowly but surely, honey, okay, because I had Latifah's number her first season, but Kimmy started to dwindle, just all of them, okay? Just all the niggas. Remember, we used to like Maurice at one point. We thought he was a good light-skinned man, Savannah, but then he started, being on his bullshit, and Marceau wasn't never shit. I never saw it for Marceau. It was actually Martell that was, to me, the most likable. You know what I'm saying? Out of the guys. So, I don't know. It's just when you see certain videos or people send stuff to you, it is, for you to react to, it is kind of like shocking. Because that's not at all what I thought. So, another person says, TT gave her opinion and I will never understand why these women can't stop the bull. Just enough. Another person says they got a problem because Melody has shown support for True T. So I guess y'all talking about Empress. Another person says TT has been toxic for a long time now. Another person says TT wasn't a Melody supporter at first. She was riding with the Scotts and she accused Melody of trying to break up the Scotts' marriage. I don't know where all this love came from towards Melody. TT did grow on me, but all this bickering and back and forth is becoming too much and a lot. Another person says Mel knows of the fact that Marceau and Alonda had a relationship. Alonda was Melody's hairdresser. Alonda says she didn't know that Marceau was married. Mel has suggested that she come on the show and tell her story. What she did do was tell Marceau. She told Mel, and Mel suggested for her to come on the show and tell the truth. Marceau told her to deny it. Alonda had signed an NDA with Marceau. I remember all of that. Another person says, True T, I know you ain't turning now because Melody was the only one that wanted you to come back on the internet while everybody else wanted you gone. Wasn't that audio of her, you guys? Wasn't that old, though? Was that, like, old audio of when she at first came on, the Love and Marriage Huntsville sector scene? Y'all put that in the comments and really clarify that for me, because this isn't like audio of her like now talking about Melody, right? This was in the beginning. That's what I hear what a lot of you all are saying, is she just wasn't a male supporter. She was more, a supporter of the Scotts. Okay, y'all put that in the comments. That way I'm clear. Okay? Another person says you don't have to have friends to be on YouTube. They need to leave that lady alone. Yeah, she was for the Scotts and later became a male supporter. They need to stop this mess. Yeah, another person says True T was neutral for the first 2 seasons, giving an honest review, and everyone on the cast was being dragged equally. Then TT saw the bullying and the conniving behaviors of the cast against Melody. Yep. And like most, began liking Melody more and more because Melody was the only true person. Empress is an awful person trying to turn everyone against TT. TT review mentioned was over 9 seasons ago. Okay, so it was old. Empress is best friends with all the ops that can't stand Melody herself. She's a joke. I do notice, like, she, some of the clips I've seen, right? Empress is, like, more vocal and cursing. I was kind of shocked by her behavior and character, because y'all know I curse, right? And y'all know I cuss a motherfucker out. And, you know, I have a lot of different elements to my personality that y'all know about, though. But I'm saying with some of what I've seen on her, you guys, and like I said, I have nothing against Empress at all. She's not no enemy of mine. I don't hate her or nothing. But I did notice her, like, cussing a little bit more and being really angry with True T. And she just, I don't know, I always thought that she would, I don't know, behave a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Not be cursing, not be, you know, over there with Yolanda and the fam and, you know, but if you live long enough, you will be able to see everybody's true character, is what I always say. You just got to keep living, baby. That's what the older people used to say, honey, back in the day. Because, you know, people try to make it look like True T is so awful and horrible and, you know, she's this and she's that. But it's like, some of y'all be doing the same stuff that she do. Okay, I'm not talking about one person in particular. I'm just saying, you know, it's a lot of, you know, everybody coming at her and then, you know, y'all doing some of the same stuff. Another person says, hello, everybody. I believe those audio clips are old. True T started saying things, but the people in the chat were telling her to go back and watch all the episodes. TT did so and came back and apologized. Oh, okay. Now, Empress Radio jumped on the bandwagon with Marcella, Miss Wanda, and Yolanda because someone had her channel taken down, so she got scared and folded. Then she began siding with Yolanda and them. Melody silently cut Martell off, but she still tried to give the rest of the cast a chance. But she ended up cutting them off. She knew they were trying to ride her coattails. Another person says, radio is slow. I think y'all talking about Empress. If she think Melody wasn't listening to TT from the beginning, she's mad Melody supported TT and not her in the game. Another person says, radio is clout chasing. Another person says, if you're a good commentator, you're going to be truly objective and not biased, not agreeing with every move Mel makes. Does it make you a non-supporter? Yeah. Empress has allowed TT's comment about her out-of-wedlock baby hurt her to her core. Even though it's true, she digs up dirt on TT to display on social media to try to bring the masses against her because her feelings are hurt. Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed, you know, and I get being upset about somebody talking about your child, but I heard Empress saying, yeah, but she ain't got no man, though. Ain't no man touched her. And it's like, girl, just because somebody, I'm pretty sure True T can get a man. And just because you got a man or you're in proximity to a man, it don't mean that the man is a good man, Savannah. So it was kind of giving a bit male identified for me. Because I was like, you know, I know some things that people have said to me in the past. Like, yeah, well, you know, that man, he didn't like you. As if my fucking identity is about a raggedy, ugly motherfucker liking me. Who cares? Okay, Miss Robinson is the prize. Surprise, surprise. And make sure you subscribe. Okay, listen. See, that was a nice little transition, honey, okay? I heard her ask for videos of True T dragging Queen Sheba. We seen her video on that soon, I'm sure. Yeah, I didn't see that, you guys. I didn't see the video of True T dragging. Tired, honey. Didn't get no rest last night, okay? Okay. In the ghetto, honey, okay? You know, ghetto, a little bit hood, okay? Just, child. That's what hurt people do. Pull others in against one person for them to appear to be crashing out, toxic, and jealous. Same moves made to get her pages taken down, while other content creators have and are still talking shit as well. A lot of people I notice are mad about this GoFundMe that True T has, used to raise money to, help other content creators that may have issues, from a legal standpoint, like if they are sued for their commentary or, that type of thing. So I kind of thought that was nice that she was doing that, and she was able, you guys, to make a lot of money, to raise a lot of money. I feel like that should be applauded, right? But it seems like several people are mad about that, though. So I don't know, child. They're saying that that makes her look greedy. Like, oh, she really must be broke because she's trying to raise all this money to, Child, it's a mess. Okay, so back to this person's comment. Nothing makes them better than her. If she's toxic, then so are they. And currently their games are working. And I'm not going against her with 15 to 20 of them on the other side. Other content creators have said Caramel Rail stole their content. But when TT say it, it's a problem. It's funny because some of the same content creators who complained about the theft are now within the group against TT. Okay, you guys, so let's shake a bone and get the hell on. Y'all make sure y'all put the y'all comments in the comment section on that. Like, just, letting me know what you know about this situation. So Ari Lennox, she mentioned that she did not like how Martin constantly went in on Pam. And as a dark-skinned girl coming up, she felt like Pam was beautiful. Pam didn't get the credit that she deserved. Pam, which was played by Tashina Arnold, she was a sex symbol on Martin. The way that Tommy would whistle and Cole, they would whistle at her and be looking at her ass. She was a sex symbol just like Gina. Do I think that Martin has a preference? He does, clearly. Look at the women he's married or was engaged to. All of them light-skinned women. He promised Tisha Campbell the role of Gina. She didn't even believe that he was going to get his own sitcom, but he promised her that role, I'm guessing, because he's like, if I am going to be on TV and if I'm going to have a woman, I want her to look like how my real woman would look. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. Do I get kind of where she's coming from? Yeah, in a way, but no, not fully. The plane didn't land for me because Tashina Arnold, who played Pam, she also would go in on Martin's height, his ears. I'm sure people with big ears and that were, boys or men that were extremely short, they felt offended by what she said. Yeah, Martin would say, yeah, she got BDBs. I got BDBs, hell, right now as I'm talking to y'all. Okay? So, I was never offended by it. You know what I'm saying? But I know people will say, well, you're not a dark-skinned woman. You don't have to be dark-skinned to be offended by a hair texture comment. Because, honey, Miss Robinson had to get the straightening comb and the pressing curl like everybody else. So just because somebody looks light-skinned or they are quote-unquote the preference, it does not mean that they have this beautiful, long, luscious hair and, they got the wet and go and, I didn't have that, and I'm sure a lot of my light-skinned sisters did not have that. So y'all have to quit playing the perpetual victim. I'm talking about some of you dark-skinned ladies, okay? And I know some of y'all is not gonna like this. but I just gotta speak the truth. I think a lot of you all like to act as if you are the only ones with nappy hair. I remember we had the same issue with Eva when she was on Housewives of Atlanta, and Kenya tried to make her apologize. Kenya Moore tried to make Eva apologize at the reunion for being a light-skinned woman with light eyes. You can't say, because I think Eva called them nappy heads, and everybody was so offended. Eva is black like y'all are. Have y'all seen her daughter? She's black. Yeah, she had her boys with a light-skinned man, and those children, you know, they look biracial, but I'm pretty sure they're black. You know, because they say once you got some black in you black. Like Tia and Tamara Mowry, they are black. They have an African-American mother. Tracy Ellis Ross, Diana Ross's daughter, she's a black woman. She could say she's biracial, but, you know, she will be looked at as a black woman. That's what a lot of them call themselves, black women. Halle Berry, her mother is actually white. And her mother said, no, you're African American. That's how the people will look at you, you know. So it's that whole thing. But let me see what some people have to say about this. So one person says, I will never understand Ari's take. Pam was literally the most desired character on the show, and there was never any jokes about her skin tone. She chose to see Pam as a victim, when in reality, she was portrayed as a strong woman. Plus, she started with Martin plenty of times. Yeah. And I've been saying this for the longest time, that a lot of dark-skinned women have a lot of self-hatred issues. This is not all of you, but some of you have a lot of self-hatred issues. You project, and I know this because of my experience with some of you all. Some dark-skinned women have made life a living hell for me. Have tried to sabotage me, was jealous of me for like no fucking reason. Never did nothing to them. They would treat me bad. They would always just fuck with me. There would be other people in the neighborhood or in this class for them to pick on. Is no, let's fuck with her. And let's push and push and push her. To make her prove herself. Or I do think that there is this perception, if you are the preference or you're a pretty light-skinned woman, you're weak. And you can be bullied and pushed around, and y'all know somebody done told you wrong. Okay, you can't do that shit with Miss Robinson. I would cuss you the fuck out. A lot of them have fucked around and found out the hard way that this ain't that. Okay, I'm black like this. Okay, listen, shout out to Funky Doniva, and not like this. Okay, I'm black too. So, yeah, I do think a lot of them, like, have a lot of issues, a lot of insecurities. I grew up in a time where, you know, young black girls, they were chosen to be girlfriends just like the light-skinned ones. So I don't have that experience where, well, the light-skinned girls are just favored all the time and they get what they want and they look so perfect. And no, that's not the case. And I don't see a lot of content creators defending light-skinned women. We always go down this rabbit hole of colorism and dark-skinned women. Now don't get me wrong, some of the shit is true. Okay, it just doesn't make it true all the time. Okay, and some of them use it as a way to play victim due to their own self-hatred issues. I said it. Okay? I said it. But yeah, I believe that Tisha Campbell got that role of girlfriend because that's what Martin would have been with. And like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Maybe Pam wasn't, you know, what he would have wanted. I couldn't imagine Tisha playing Pam's role and Pam playing Tisha's role. I just couldn't imagine it. But yeah, Tashina Arnold has aged very well. Okay, she has. She still looks good. She's still nice and slim. Some people will say she's aged better than Tisha Campbell. Okay, Jasmine Guy, another light-skinned, like, biracial woman who probably considers herself to be black too. But Tisha Campbell and Jasmine Guy, they both look good to me. There was at one point, Tisha, we saw her looking a bit different. I will say that. But Tisha, has been looking real good. She has. So, like her makeup and hair and stuff is back on point. I guess she went through a lot with her divorce from Dwayne Martin, and probably before then was going through a lot. You never know what folks are going through. So, but yeah, she back looking good, honey. Her and Pam, okay? But I always saw Pam as a sex symbol. The way that Tommy would look at her, the way that they would leave to go have sex, and Cole would be all over her, and Jerome liked Pam, and Jerome's in a like Pam was the sex symbol. So I'm like, what the hell is Ari like talking about? So I think this is one of them situations where she was projecting. What do you guys think? I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Comment on this. How do you feel? You feel like Ari is projecting her own insecurities? Do you feel like she made a valid point that Pam was just always joked on and joned on? But, she gave it back to Martin, so you can't say that she was this victim. Do you see what I'm saying? Another person says people don't realize that Martin and Pam back and forth is a callback to Fred Sanford and Aunt Esther's relationship on Sanford and Son. That's a good point. They went in on each other the same way Fred and Esther used to, and it made the show even more hilarious, as you would wonder what new creative ways they would come with to insult each other. This generation has gotten way too sensitive. That's something else I agree on. Yeah, a lot of, and I know due to my proximity to some dark-skinned women, I would be thinking I'm cool with a dark-skinned woman. This is my early 20s. I'm thinking we're cool and, yeah, we all go have fun. But no, I was always looked at as the target, the threat, the preference. I need to snake this bitch before she snake me. I've had certain dark-skinned women say he wanted me, he didn't want you, and girl, I done had a million niggas. So if I don't get this one or that one, it is okay with me. Rejection is God's protection. I don't want no raggedy ass man. I don't want no damn narcissist. I don't want no controlling MFer. Okay, Miss Robinson can't be controlled. Hell, I barely can't control my damn self, let alone let a man do it. A lot of dark-skinned women, though, this is another thing, though, and y'all this video probably gonna be a bit controversial. I know y'all ain't gonna like this, but listen, I'm speaking from my experience, okay? This does not make this true. This is just what I have seen due to my experience and, some experiences of friends of mine and a little bit of research I did. I think that certain dark-skinned women are some of the biggest pick-me's ever. And Tasha K is one of them. Because I like Tasha K. I think she's very good at what she does. And I think that Tasha K is a beautiful black woman. She is. Tasha K looks beautiful without even trying. That's what makes her so attractive, right? But Tasha got issues. Okay, Tasha got some issues because she always says in her commentary, I think she was talking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. She ain't got a man, she light-skinned. I heard her say that about another light-skinned woman. Can't think of the woman right now. But yeah, she ain't got a man, she's light-skinned. So we're not defined by if we have a man. A lot of us have had plenty of men. Okay, so, like, come on. It's nothing. Anybody can get a man. If you can get one that's worth keeping, then that's a whole nother conversation. But I do notice a lot of dark-skinned women, like, very big on, yeah, but I'm married, or, yeah, I got a man, or he liked me more. And a lot of y'all do act like that. And it's like, girl, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. But yeah, y'all let me know, have y'all heard Tasha K talk like that in her commentary? Because it's just, you gotta really listen, right? You gotta really listen to what Tasha K be saying. Okay, let me get back to Kenya, because I don't think I made my point with that completely. Kenya Moore of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Miss I'm not willing to do 4C hair in my salon. Okay? That's why I looked at that bitch sideways when she said what she said about Eva, and Eva did not have the backing to fight that, because Eva was saying some other problematic shit. Shamia is not black with a Q, or she's black with a K, or some dumb shit she said, and then, you know, the girls they motor combated her ass on that damn reunion. It was like, finish her. They got Eva's ass, okay? Because they was like, nah, Eva, we can't really hear you out because you was saying some other. I never understood what Eva was saying. I would hope she's not a colorist, but that little bit right there was a little weird. Like, why would you say Shamia? And Shamia is a very beautiful woman. She has issues. She has followed this religious indoctrination of her family that's taking her down the wrong road. But nevertheless, Shamia is very attractive, right? But yeah, I was upset with Kenya because Kenya has some self-hatred issues. She does. Even though she's Miss USA, she has some self-hatred issues. What kind of contacts she got, hazel eyes, or the shit she said about Nene's children. Yeah, her children look like her. Bryson and Brent would look just like you, bitch, if you if you would have went half on a baby like Greg Leaks rather than Mark Daly. You got with Mark so that daughter of yours could look a certain way. But Kenya, you didn't have to do that because you're already pretty. You're already beautiful. But Kenya does not know that. That's why she looked so out of place season 5. That was the worst season for Kenya because she kept on, oh, I miss USA. Meanwhile, you got all these goddamn potholes in your goddamn face like somebody that shot your damn face up. She had real bad skin. She was ashy. Bye, Ashy. They was tearing her ass up. Remember Apollo at the reunion? Yeah, your feet. Your feet don't match your legs. You ashy. Oh, with your ashy feet. What Kenya's father say? You got feet like your mama. They was letting Kenya. I like Kenya though, because Kenya will stand there and take that shit and hit them back. She didn't get too sensitive with it, you know, so I do like that about Kenya. Good sportsmanship, right? Kenya will let them read her, and that will be that, and, you know, so that's something good about Kenya. But yeah, I didn't like all that shit with Eva because it's like, bitch, shut the fuck up. You the one that was peddling through sperm banks talking about, I want a baby with a man with blonde hair, blue eyes, and I just want the baby to look a certain way. Listen, if that's what you want to do it, but you can't get on Eva and tell her to be sensitive to you. She's black just like how you are. Okay? But I think when you're light skinned and you are the preference, like I said before, you guys, I'm the lightest on both sides of my family, so I can speak to this, okay? People feel like you have this perfect life. All the men just want you. They'll choose you over a dark-skinned woman. That's not the case all the time. That's not the case all the time. Our lives are not perfect. I have been harassed at, like, most of my jobs because of how I look by the men. You know, like, them, like, acting as if they can't help themselves. Okay? Like, I have actually worked with men at jobs, and they have treated dark-skinned women good, and then when they get around me, they licking their lips, they're overly sexualizing me and objectifying me. I'm like the fantasy girl. And then they will be nice and respectful to this one over here and this one over here. And do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, do you know that we get that type of treatment? I don't hear anybody talking about that, but it's set up, especially on YouTube, when you are the preference, so to speak. And in this case, we're talking about Tisha Campbell. She's light-skinned. She was the preference, right? Let's talk about a conversation that a lot of people are not talking about. Okay? Let's see where being the preference got Tisha Campbell on the Martin show. Okay, so there was a question that was asked. Did Martin Lawrence and Tisha Campbell date in real life? No, Martin Lawrence and Tisha Campbell did not date in real life. While they played a couple on the show Martin, Campbell has stated that Lawrence asked her out on dates and she declined. Their professional relationship became strained due to accusations of sexual harassment. Look at where being the preference got her. Why do we don't never talk about this part? Okay? We don't never get to this part because some of your favorite content creators, they only want to speak to one side of this equation. Okay? They always want to take the colorism route because they know some of y'all will take the bait and make some of you all the poor perpetual victims. But I don't hear a lot of people talking about this. Did you hear what I just said? I'm about to repeat it. Their professional relationship became strained due to accusations of sexual harassment and battery made by Campbell against Lawrence. We all know this has to be true. I love Martin to death, honey. Lord knows I do. But Martin was wildin' in them 90s. Okay, he also damn near lost his life during Thin Line Between Love and Hate, where he acted, directed, produced. He ended up going through a divorce. He ended up being like, we'll say allegedly abusive to his ex-wife. The Patricia Southall lady that he has the daughter Jasmine with. The girl, I remember when he got married to her because I was like, God damn, she looked like Tisha Campbell. It's like all of them look like fucking Tisha Campbell. So this is not too far off from me believing at that time. Do I believe that Martin is this monster now? No. He's older. He's probably has some health issues, some time to reflect. He's mature. He's a lot quieter. Like the Martin Lawrence of today is very different of the Martin in the 90s. Martin had a lot of motherfucking energy. He was like Bobby Brown. Okay? Look, every little step I take. Like Martin was up in these streets, honey. Okay? Now, if you see him in interviews, he gives a response. He's just very different, right? But we still love Martin because he gave us a hit show, and there's no doubt about it. He's talented. The whole cast was talented as hell, all of them, right? But don't nobody want to talk about what Gina went through, being the object of this man's fantasies, because a lot of them, they sexualize and they fantasize and they fetish over light-skinned women that high yellow, look Puerto Rican, look biracial. Like a lot of men want to be in proximity to that woman, okay? And they feel like because that's the type of woman that, that they are just so attracted to, they just can't help themselves. I know because of, different jobs I've had. And it's so funny, one of my last jobs, I will never forget how this man was staring at me. And I literally said in my head, oh my God, he has fetished me. And I literally said he's going to start trying to be aggressive with me. This was very early on. I seen it. I saw it in his eyes. He had these predatory eyes, like looking at me like, yeah, she pretty. She a red boss, got a big ass. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what. Now, his girlfriend, she looked nothing like me. Nothing. So a lot of them, they will be married or girlfriends look completely different. And I'm pretty sure he didn't act like that with her, or she probably, wouldn't be his girlfriend. But yeah, that's another thing that a lot of your faves, they won't talk about, because they just want to they just want to talk about the colorism and, oh, how Martin made, the dark-skinned girls feel back in the day with his jokes and Jones towards Pam. But we saw the same shit on Sanford and Son with Fred and Esther, who were friends in real life. The studio actually didn't like LaWanda Page, who played Aunt Esther at first. It was Red Fox that fought for LaWanda Page and had her come to his house, and they, rehearsed a whole bunch of times, and she was able to stay on the show. But, Red Fox was a light-skinned man. And before Martin, I loved Red first. Like, I was like, ooh, look at my granddaddy, And my mother was like, that is your granddaddy, girl. You can claim that man. He looked like he could be your granddad. But I love me some Red Fox. And then it was Martin. I took a liking to him because he was more, he was more out there, and Red ended up passing on. But yeah, so what about, I'm going to look up some videos on that. Did people have an issue with Red Fox always coming at LaWanda Page? But look at Donna. Donna wasn't light-skinned. She wasn't high yellow. Okay? I believe the lady that played Donna has recently passed. So rest in peace to her. I don't know if it was this year or the year before. But yeah, he wasn't no colorist or nothing, or, and then I feel, and this is just how I feel, you guys are free to feel how you feel, but I just feel like people can like what they like. Like when I was younger, I dated nothing but dark-skinned guys. That was what did it for me. If you want chocolate, honey, Miss Robinson wasn't checking for you. Then I went through my brown skin phase. Ooh, you had to be brown skin. Ooh, and that's still kind of, what we like, honey, the brown skins. Now I'm kind of open to light skin. My last relationship was with somebody that, was somewhat similar in color to me. So, yeah. I like light skin. I like Puerto Rican now. Like, I'm more kind of on that verge. Mexican. I've dated a black and Mexican guy. It's weird because people thought we were siblings. They was like, girl. Now, you look, it was just like laying off girlfriends when she was dating a man that looked like he could be her brother child. It's a mess. But, people have their preferences and people change. And so, do you see what I'm saying? I feel like there are men, I've been around men that didn't date light-skinned women. I was not offended. I didn't feel bad or nothing. It was like, I just like dark-skinned women. And I understood it. That's just what they like. People like what they like. I'm not going to feel offended. The hell? You don't like my kind. Shame on you. I'm not going to do that. That's what you like. I've been around that several times, though, with men. They'll be like, yeah, I mainly like dark skin. You look good, but, I mainly, I want me a dark skin woman. It's fine. It's fine. As long as you open and honest about how you feel, I'm fine with it. For real. But yeah, don't nobody talk about the sexual harassment that Tisha Campbell went through. We noticed a change in the freaking Martin show due to her going through that with Martin. Because he was like hitting on her and trying to, remember they would kiss and do little stuff on the show because they were in a relationship and they had to give you that couple energy. But yeah, we remember Martin going downhill because of them accusations, and they had to be true. She had some type of restraining order or something against him because the last, what was it? The last season or something, they focused more on like Pam and her work life, and then she played like this twin. Okay, she had a cousin that looked just like her. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Then the last episode, Martin and Gina couldn't even film in the same fucking room, so something happened. Something, but ain't nobody talking about that though. They not talking about that though. So what y'all think about that? I want to talk about this thing with Tamar Braxton and Tony Braxton. Okay, so I'm watching this clip of Tamar and Tony Braxton. They're talking on the phone. Y'all know I'm a big Tony fan, honey. I was not at all mad at what Tony said. Tony was being very real. Tony was saying what a lot of other people were thinking, but will not say, right? Tamar is on the phone with Tony saying that she got to let her go because she getting ready to have Bible study. And Tony is just like, why? And Tamar get the line, because I'm holy and I'm saved and I'm sanctified. Your behavior does not give that. This is what I'm talking about with these people that always go to church. And most of the people that I've known, I'm not talking about everybody, you guys, right? Because I do know some people that go to church and they don't behave like Tamar. But who's the most freaking problematic out of Tony and Tamar? Tamar is. But yet she's what? Reading Bible scriptures. She's in therapy. She's doing all these things and she still behaves in the way that she does. And I told y'all, I used to work with a so-called preacher that chased me into a bathroom. Had a girlfriend, but chased me, threatened me, yeah, and then invited me to his church to listen to him speak. For what? You don't give, preacher nigga. Tamar, you don't give saved and sanctified by the Holy Ghost. You don't look like you have that spirit within you. Not by your behavior. Not saying you have to be perfect, right? Because sometimes I'm here for Tay-Tay and sometimes I'm not. I think she's very talented. Tamar is funny. You know, I think out of the Braxton, she's the one that's going to say kind of what everybody is thinking, you know. So Tamar has her own lane, right? She has that right to have her own lane and be different from Tony, but Tamar is too performative. Tony is not. Tony knows how to just treat people the right way. Okay? Tony is always fair with the girls, with her sisters. Hell, they wouldn't have a show without her. Okay? But we ain't never seen Tony Braxton spiraling and acting a fool and, you know, we ain't never seen that. She ain't never, you know, quoted all these Bible scriptures. Yes, they grew up in a very religious home. They was actually Jehovah's Witnesses at first, and then as Tony was getting older, she was listening to like secular music, like Rick James, bitch. I just wanted to say that. Rick James and, you know, Tina Marie and, you know, a whole bunch of other people that did, you know, music, secular music. That's what she always liked. But her what did her mother do? Her mother did the same programming on her that Shamia's family, her mother is doing to her, making her feel guilty. Oh, you got that record deal. Don't forget your sisters. Oh, you should give it up since they don't want you and your sisters. All that religious programming and, you know, indoctrination, and it's too much. It's abusive. It is abuse, but a lot of people don't think it is because they feel like God, Jesus, the Bible is involved. So it can't, but it is abusive when people misuse scripture and, you know, they don't really live by it, but they're quoting it. Like that man that chased me in the bathroom. Don't y'all know he had a new scripture for me every other day? Yeah, but the Bible. Yeah, but and then I was telling him how I like psychics and I just believe in certain stuff. I like astrology. That's devil's work. No, devil's work, bitch, is you chasing me into the fucking bathroom, acting like I owe you something, acting entitled to me due to proximity. That's, look, that's the devil's work of it all, girl. Child. So, look at what the people saying to Tamar in the comments. Tamar, pray for your sister Tony. Tony should be praying for Tamar, because it is Tamar with the demonic spirit inside of her. And then all of this, she keep trying to, she keep chasing after men that don't want her. We see more of that with her. Yes, Tony marrying Birdman is, confusing, but we ain't seen her, like, down to the internet with all these damn niggas and white men, and hell, Tamar let that white man JR play in her face. He over here dating Tommy and anybody else he could get while y'all on break. Okay? Another person, I've never been more proud of Tamar. Why y'all bigging up Tamar, who does not do what the word says all the time? Okay? So, yeah, like, girl, Tamar can be in Bible study all day, but her ass ain't listening to that word. Another person, I can't believe Tony said that. Good for you, Tamar. God is good. No. Another person finally says what Tony said was absolutely factual. Do your research. And then, Tony was actually saying, there's other ways to come to a spiritual conclusion on how to treat people other than the Bible. I used to read Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. That changed my life, right? After I stopped going to church, it was Eckhart Tolle. Okay? Then it began to be Wayne Dyer, Carolyn Myss, Michael Singer. Okay, like all these other people. Gary Zukav, like these spiritual. That's why I always tell y'all, more spiritual than religious. Okay? Tony, more spiritual than religious. Just because people are religious doesn't mean they are saved. Look at their behavior. But that's all Tony said to her. There are other ways to get to a certain conclusion. Some people may say, yeah, but she shouldn't be telling her to turn to anything else but the Bible. See, that's the religious doctrine, that my way is the only way to get close to God. No. Okay? I believe that all religions serve a purpose. I do. I do. It just depends on whatever you choose to follow. But, yeah, you can't tell me that Tamar is this saved Christian. Not the way she be out in these streets, acting confused, creating confusion, creating conflict, like the devil. Okay? Another person says that's her sister. They believe the same thing. They act like Christians on TV, but she's surprised she's having Bible study. Somebody lying, and it ain't Tony. That's right. This girl ain't doing no Bible study. Where are these? Look, where is the Bible when she is out here crashing out on the damn internet? Another person, people are grown in their own homes with their own lives. Being your sister doesn't mean I have to believe in what you believe in. Exactly. There's more than one way to God. Okay? There's more than one way to truth. So, yeah. Another person, it's the truth. How do we know what to believe? All we know is what we was taught. Thank you. And what we was taught may not be accurate, but we believed it because our parents told us. Miss Evelyn? Okay, Miss Evelyn, who got chewed out by Iyanla for being a bad mother, but she thought because she was in a church every damn Sunday, yeah, I'm saved and sanctified and Jesus this and people really believe because they spew out all these, all this religious psychobabble, like all the religious talk, that they are close to God. No, it's your behavior that we will see. We will see you treating people a certain way. We will see you talking a certain way. That's why I never, I do say more now. I do, say, talk about scripture from here and there, but this is not a religious channel. You know, it's not. I always tell y'all that. I curse. I am here to be who I really am, not to put on a performance, right? But I am like the real deal Holyfield. I don't, you know, sit up here and quote scripture on every video. If it applies to what I'm talking about, then I may, you know, say, you know them by their fruit. You know, I may look up something, you know what I'm saying? And at one point, I was so spiritual, I wasn't even like on Bible scriptures like that, because I felt like people were using and abusing them and wasn't really acting out the word, which is why it's there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect. But yeah, I would be more inclined to believe that Tony is more spiritual and more in tune with God than Tamar, just due to her behavior, just due to how she carries herself out of all the sisters. So Tamar says, how else we're going to battle all these demons and all this witchcraft? Whose witchcraft are you talking about? See, a lot of people love using religion to get away from themselves, to get away from taking accountability. The Bible can be a very useful tool if you're going to use it appropriately, if you're really going to apply it to your life. I don't think Tamar reading that Bible like that, not from what I've seen on the internet. And like I said, nobody's perfect, but she has crashed out like way too many times. Okay?